Okay. Good morning, everyone. The regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is now called to order at 9:33 a.m. We apologize for the delayed start this morning. We were having some technical issues. You may join today's meeting in person via Zoom webinar or watch the live stream from the College of the Desert YouTube channel. These links are accessible by visiting the College of the Desert homepage. Dr. Garcia, please proceed with the roll call.
Good morning, Student Trustee Paul.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Present.
Trustee Yon.
Here.
Present.
Trustee Pettis.
Here. Trustee Stefan, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Certainly. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2.01, board meeting agenda. Pursuant to Government Code Section 5494.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than 2/3 of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those present. That there is need to take immediate action, and that the need for the action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda for November 10, 2022?
None.
Okay. Hearing none, the agenda stands approved as presented. Item number 3.01, public comments. In accordance with Senate Bill 361, the guidance from the California Department of Public Health on gatherings, remote public participation is allowed and will be accepted in person by email to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu during the meeting and submitted for the record, or by using the raise your hand function by joining the Zoom link. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person. All comments must be submitted or brought forward prior to the end of the public comment section. Armando, do we have public comment today?
Yes, we do, Chair Perez. We had one comment received in writing. Several folks here wishing to speak in person, and then it looks like a few on Zoom as well. So we'll start with those in person, beginning with Corbin Wild.
Great. Good morning.
Good? Okay. But today I am here in the capacity of Student Learning Outcomes Coordinator. For those of you who may not be familiar, my work in this role is centered on aiding faculty in assessing and improving the learning of their students. This work is a key accreditation requirement, but more than that, it is a way to honor the subjects we teach, improve our pedagogy, and demonstrate our respect for students. Monday, my co-coordinator and I spent our personal funds to attend a conference at Cerritos Community College. While there, we were astonished to find that our counterparts at several other community colleges are supported by teams of staff and a dedicated budget in the pursuit of enhancing our students' learning. That is not the case at our institution. There is no dedicated budget nor staff for the assessment of student learning at College of the Desert. Since the inception of the SLO coordinator position, I have continuously asked administration for funding for collaborative assessments, support staff, and access to training. These items would allow me to better assist faculty as they focus on improving learning in their classrooms. Most of these requests are denied or routed through a professional development fund that is not sufficient to support our work and frankly should not apply to our positions. My co-coordinator and I are being nationally recognized and asked to share our expertise and train others in advocating for student learning, but our home institution continuously places financial support elsewhere. I want to emphasize that this is not the fault of our interim VPI, the deans of the foundation. They often find money in their own budgets to support our work. The lack of financial support for student learning outcome assessment work belongs to our highest leadership as a manifestation of the institution's priorities. We needed $600 to go to Cerritos Community College on Monday. I chose to spend my own money because I truly believe that student learning is a worthy pursuit. I imagine you can understand how disheartening it is to not have access to these funds while exorbitant amounts of money go elsewhere. Dr. Garcia, if awarded the raise on the agenda today, I hope you too choose to spend your personal funds in supporting student learning. I have a whole list of projects that are unfunded and conferences that would aid our faculty that board members are also welcome to spend their personal funds to support. To make my point abundantly clear, when projects in student learning outcome assessment are denied funding or support, it communicates to faculty that our leadership and this board does not care about student learning or the subjects we teach. Assessment work is then diminished to posturing for an accreditation requirement. To be even clearer, I would really like to see this board spend the same amount of money reaffirming their commitment to student learning by considering matching the raise proposed for Dr. Garcia to fund assessment projects campus-wide. I believe College of the Desert demonstrates that education should not be reduced to a set of numbers that separate the student from the wider world of learning and purpose of our institution. I hope the board and our leadership emphasize that as they make decisions. Lastly, I would like to invite all of you to join me anytime you wish to learn about the work we're doing as faculty to aid our students in their learning and the ways in which you can support them. Thank you. Is that it? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, up next, we have Mary Lou Marujo.
I'd like to congratulate the voters in Trustee Area 4 for electing Dr. Joel Kinnaman. Hopefully, we can start righting the ship that has been going off course since Aurora's third vote for Martha Garcia last year. I've lost track of the number of my former COD coworkers who texted me after they saw the amendment to Martha Garcia's employment contract. What a self-serving act it was for her to add it to the agenda, a year's extension, 6 additional months of severance pay, and a salary increase of more than $42,000 a year. What a slap in the face to the community. What a brutal message to send to her employees, further destroying their morale. Terminating Martha Garcia would cost COD $600,000 if the amendment is approved as presented. Maybe if Martha got paid by the number of employees who've quit since she rolled into town, or the number of lawsuits brought against the college, or the number of times she's embarrassed the college, then perhaps she would be worth the new contract. But she has done absolutely nothing to merit such treatment. As trustees, you have a moral and ethical obligation to your constituents, a fiduciary responsibility that some of you have liked to talk about in recent months, especially B. The contract amendment should be postponed to the December meeting so the new trustee can be involved in the decision instead of Aurora's rubber stamp today. Did you know that Martha Garcia was a keynote speaker at last week's Colegas conference in Long Beach, and where she addressed more than 200 Latina leaders? Here's what she told the attendees. COD faculty and staff are awful. She hates the Coachella Valley community. She thinks that everyone is racist and she's a victim. Then she broke down crying at the podium in front of hundreds of community college leaders. Is this the type of representation you want from our president? Then you have Christina Tafoya, who created a complete fiasco of the false alarm on campus 2 weeks ago. Was it an active shooter? Was it a suspect with a weapon? Prior to text alerts being sent out, employees were being told by their managers that Tafoya had called with an active shooter alert and that employees were directed to leave campus immediately. At the same time, Riverside County Sheriff officers were ordering employees to shelter in place, to not evacuate until they were released by law enforcement as they combed through campus buildings and offices with their guns out. Tafoya's communication failure could have proved fatal. Good thing it was a false alarm. What if it isn't the next time? Martha, Ruben, B, and Aurora, you've lost a lot of good employees this past year because of your actions. If you can't admit that to yourselves, then you're too self-absorbed and don't care about your community, your employees, and your students.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Maria Hassel.
Good morning. Board of Trustees, President Garcia, my name is Maria Hasso, and I am a counselor in the General Counseling Unit. Today, you are voting on my emeritus status, as I will be retiring in December. I am an alumna of this college and have worked here over 25 years. Many will remember how at one time, College of the Desert was nicknamed College of the Desperate by the community. It took a lot of hard work and dedication from staff, faculty, and leadership to turn this college around. With that came student success, respect, accolades, and support from the community. In merely a year and a half, that reputation has been destroyed by the actions of President Garcia and the Board of Trustees. Every day in our email, we receive the numbers from the research office on the percentage of enrolled students, which has dropped throughout the semester. Lawsuits have been filed against the college, and controversy regarding building in the West Valley continues. None of this is positive or beneficial to the students, faculty, staff, and community. However, in today's agenda, the board wants to reward President Garcia by voting to increase her salary from $355,000 to $397,000 and increasing her severance package from 12 months to 18 months. This is how the board wants to spend public money. The agenda states that the district recommends the board approve the amended contract. Who in the district made this recommendation? From where I stand, I can't see anyone that I work with recommending this action. I am asking the board members, as public servants who have a responsibility to make prudent financial decisions for this college, remove the item from the agenda.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Lisa McFadden.
Good morning. I'm Lisa McFadden, Professor Emeritus of Counseling. Dear Board of Trustees, what's with the last-minute addition, amendment to the board agenda by Dr. Garcia seeking a sizable raise and an extension of her contract? Her current generous contract terminates on June 30th, 2024. Yet, with record low enrollment, copious lawsuits against the college that the public doesn't even know about, and numerous positions unfilled, leaving the college in disarray, apparently she thinks there's nothing greedy about asking, number one, to extend her contract an additional year till June 2025. Number two, to increase her annual salary from $355,000 to almost $400,000. Number three, to increase the termination salary severance from 12 months to 18 months. At this time, while we are in transition, and with the college in the worst position that it's ever been in, it is unconscionable for Dr. Garcia to request this contract extension and raise. Board of Trustees, please postpone this agenda item until the newly elected trustee is on board. Thank you. Since I have 48 seconds left, Chairman Perez, I would just like to say to you that I have been very disappointed when all these people take their time to come up and express concern about the college, because we love the college. I'm a graduate, Marie's a graduate. We love this college. And for you to make the comment after they finish, another disgruntled employee, it's so disappointing. Please don't do that anymore, because we are taking time out of our busy schedules to come in and express our concern about this college that we love. I graduated from here. I worked here for over 25 years. It doesn't make me happy to come in here and talk to you like this. Please stop doing that to people. Thank you.
Up next, we have Heather Benesh.
This time I remembered. Good morning. So today is the United States Marine Corps birthday, We are 247 years old. I wasn't supposed to cry. And every year to celebrate, my Marine Corps throws a dance. It's called the ball, and it's a time to remember and laugh and revive our camaraderie. So today I'm really talking to my peers, faculty, staff, directors, managers, maintenance, everybody who works at COD and loves COD. Veterans Day reminds me to celebrate and be thankful and to honor service. You really messed me up, I have to say. So when I think about these two holidays, personal to me, I'm reminded of how important integrity and truth is, but also the necessity of gratitude, humor, forgiveness, kindness, and trust. So on this holy day, I want to express my gratitude. First, to the campus security. Sometimes with their hands tied, they maintain their professionalism, their diligence, and yet they still find a way to stay interactive, friendly, and accessible. And from a Marine Corps perspective, that's a hard balance to keep. So I honor you for your hard work and for maintaining safety at our college. And I would just really ask Dr. Garcia especially to throw your energy behind the ALICE training so that every student, faculty, and staff has the opportunity to know how to be properly prepared in case of an emergency. I've invited them many semesters into my classrooms, and the students are full of gratitude, and they walk out feeling empowered. I also want to express my gratitude to Dr. Enders for being absolutely accessible, hopeful, and always positive. Thank you, Dean Pappas, for listening, asking, and actively being mindful of what your faculty and students need. I am so proud of COD's food pantry efforts. It's amazing that we're not just feeding the mind, but we're feeding the body to these well-deserving and so full of honor people that are coming here to change their lives. We can offer them and help them. So thank you, everyone who is involved in making the food pantry happen. It's just amazing. When I went to work on Friday in Indio before Halloween, the whole campus team was dressed up for Halloween as a team. Dr. Enders made me smile with her effort and her ability to bring sunshine. And it reminded me that laughter and friendship and sunshine can and still does exist on our college. The catch is that we have to all lean in and we have to make it happen again. COD can be a great place to work. It is a great place to work. At my last department meeting that I went to, there was laughter and friendship. If we want it and believe in it, the reality will begin to feel different and we'll return to what we used to be. At the Day of the Dead celebration, we ate and music played. Professor Hassan and I danced. Students smiled, faculty talked and hugged, and in that moment, healing was allowed to happen. We have all been hurt. The hows and whys are as unique as the classes we teach. And all of us deserve to feel appreciated and forgiven. I believe in COD, and as a team, we can and will turn things around. Integrity, focus, humor, forgiveness, kindness, and trust. My peers and my colleagues, I'm asking you to join me in this mission. The music is playing, and I'm inviting you to dance.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to my fellow Devil Dogs. Up next, we have Dr. Joel Kinnaman.
All right. Good morning, Chairman Perez, members of the board, and President Garcia. I first want to express that the Board of Trustees elect for Area 4 pending certification. I come here to say I look forward with working with you in a collegial and professional manner to support the communities within the Desert Community College District. I recognize there have been recent challenges, and I pledge to work as a board member in a manner that elevates the college positively in the future. This will indeed take all of our efforts, working with Dr. Garcia and her team in setting a collaborative tone and serving as role models to all of our constituents. Dr. Garcia and members of the board, you have an opportunity today to serve as that example. Since the posting of the agenda, I've been contacted by over 20 employees and many community members regarding agenda item 14.02, amendment to the employment contract for superintendent president to extend term and modify base and termination salary. I'm not here to speak against that item, rather to state that to be trusted, one must be able to trust. Having said that, I must trust that Dr. Garcia and members of the Board of Trustees utilized the evaluation process unanimously approved by the Board of Trustees on March 19th, 2021. This process is very comprehensive in the steps, evaluation instruments, and individuals involved in the evaluation. Beginning on page 31 of the board-approved management, professional development, and evaluation personnel plan, it outlines the process. The process includes a manager's self-evaluation, a supervisor's evaluation, which is the Board of Trustees in this situation. In addition, a behavioral rating scale that include employee feedback from 12 individuals identified from an evaluator pool of 20 individuals that may include managers, peers, students, faculty, classified staff, and may include community members. The final step is the performance conference where the Board of Trustees and the superintendent president meet to review the evaluation. Again, as I previously stated, the Board of Trustees approved this process unanimously on March 19th, 2021, this board. Therefore, I must trust that Dr. Garcia and the board followed the process, which has led up to today's recommendation. However, if a process other than the official process was followed, I must trust that Dr. Garcia or the Board of Trustees pull the item until the evaluation is conducted according to the publicly approved process is conducted. This would demonstrate to the community your commitment to setting a collaborative, trusting tone while serving as role models to other employees utilizing this process. In closing, I thank you for allowing me to address you today, and I wish you a very productive meeting.
Thank you. And up next, this is our last speaker in person. We have Laura Graff.
Thank you. I haven't been on campus yet, so this is very nice to see this room and building be utilized. I just want to address a couple of things regarding the agenda. I have been watching all of the meetings on video, and I do have some concerns regarding the Brown Act and closed session. When you guys come out of closed session, you report anything that was discussed that matters. And so at the end of closed session, we would have heard about if there was discussion regarding the contract. The YouTube does not go so far as to say if anything came out after closed session. We just see, we hear a little bit of, and then it goes into whatever I have in my queue, which you guys don't want to even know what's in my queue. I also want to address the pettiness, a little bit of pettiness that goes on. There's a lot of, just so you guys know, you may want to go back and look at some of the YouTubes. There's texting and note passing. So especially when the disgruntled employees are going, there's texting and note passing and shaking. And it's very disheartening because it does take a lot for us to come up and say things. And it is important that you hear us. And so when you're texting and note passing and doing this, it's as if you don't care. And we need you to care, and we need you to hear us. So as many of you know, I've been here for 26 years, and I've survived 2 cancers, a stroke, and a lot of other things. And this semester, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I gotta say, it's because of you. I just couldn't take the bad press and the stress, and I go to the doctor weekly, and all of my doctors say, "What's going on at your work?" And I've been proud. I have been proud of my work. And the doctors, they want to know about the calculus. Their students are going in calculus, and they want their student to go to medical school, and how the calculus classes are at COD. Should their student go to COD, or should their student not go to COD? And now they're saying, "What's going on at your work? What's going on? Palm Springs, I live in Rancho Mirage, and what's going on?" And it's embarrassing. I have been here since we were College of the Desperate. I have been here since the pyramids. I have been here since all of this, and it's embarrassing. And I don't want to be part of it. I have gotten to the point where I had to take a medical leave of absence. And I have been here, I have worked through 2 cancers. I worked through a lot. I was off a week after my stroke, but I couldn't do it this semester. I had to take some time off. And I blame you and some of you. But I just couldn't take it anymore. And I want you guys to be thinking about what you're doing to us. And I want you guys to be listening to it. I want you guys to go back and look at some of the videos. And I want you guys to be talking about, if somebody needs to take an additional 6 months to get their job, they're not doing a very good job. And as I said last semester, I'm not going to say anyone's doing a good job or a bad job. I think you're a very lovely lady and you're doing a great whatever. But you all need to be looking at what you're doing and listening. You've got to listen. Listen to us. And Corbin's right. I remember with the AB 705, I had to pay my own way into things because the math department didn't believe in AB 705. And I kept saying, it's happening. Whether we like it or not, it's happening. We got to do it. We've got to be paying our way into student success. That's the reason we're here. The students aren't the interruption. They're the reason we're here. We're the front line. You guys listen to us. And your constituents are the front line. You listen to them. You don't go to conferences and see what's out there, and this is really exciting. We're the ones at the front line. Listen to us. And we're telling you there's a problem. The problem's in the classroom, the problem's in the students, problems here. Listen to us, please. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. And via Zoom, we have Carol Lesquade. And Carol, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you this morning. I will be reading a statement from my esteemed emeritus colleague, Professor Tyrone Thomas. Dear College of the Desert Board of Trustees, I am asking you to reconsider the amendments to Superintendent President Garcia's employment agreement. This proposed action comes at a challenging time for the college, our students, and our community. To remind you of some of those challenges: staffing, interim positions too numerous to count, with more being added by today's agenda, including half of the executive cabinet. Almost 20 faculty positions unfilled, resulting in canceled classes for students and high faculty frustration coupled with low morale. A large number of vacant and underfilled classified positions, leading to a lack of support all over the campuses. Communication. Recently, I did not receive notification about my annual health benefits and the increased cost for 22-23. I called multiple people on campus to try to resolve the issue, only to finally learn that the voicemail system was down, still down after 6 months. No one, no employee, no student, no member of the community could leave a voicemail for anyone on campus. And of course, the larger issue of communication with the college continuing to send conflicting messages and at the same time unable to provide information requested by numerous external parties. You are rewarding this type of performance with a salary increase of about 12% before COLA? Did all the other employees receive a 12% increase this year? Actually, the current administration is considering eliminating the 403B matching funds of $1,200 for college employees, which is a reduction in salary and benefits. I urge this board to do the right thing and wait to reward Dr. Garcia until these and many other challenges are resolved, tying her compensation to her performance, not to election results. If the board continues to move forward on this item, perhaps Dr. Garcia could demonstrate her commitment to first-generation low-income students and donate her $40,000 raise for scholarships. It's so sad to watch the community support for our college continue to decline and erode. I've been a road runner for 40 years, and this year has been the first time I've been embarrassed rather than proud. Always take care of students, staff, and faculty first. Sincerely, Tyrone Thomas, Professor Emeritus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Perez, that was our final public comment for today.
Okay. Thank you, Armando, and thank you to all our speakers. Moving on to item number 4, public updates, 4.01, Proclamation for International Education Week. At this time, I would like to invite Maria Herrera, International Club Advisor, to introduce our student readers.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Maria Herrera. I am the EOPS and Care Counselor at COD. I also serve as one of the advisors for the International Student Club. The International Student Club represents international students at COD and in the community, assisting international students with personal and academic concerns. The club offers a safe and brave space for COD students to connect and to thrive. I would like to introduce the club president, Mariana Godoy Arias. This is her 3rd year at COD, and her major is kinesiology. Her career goal is to become a physical therapist. I would also like to introduce the club marketing officer, Andres Prieto. He is an international student from Mexico City. His major is computer science, but he would eventually would like to work with artificial intelligence. They will both read the club proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Hello, everyone. My name is Mariana Godoy Arias, and I am the president of the International Club, which is one of the most active clubs here on campus for both local and international students. And we host events such as game day that holds up about 25 to 30 students, movie night about 20 to 30 students. We've had a trip to the Palm Springs Street Fair, a trip to the Palm Springs Museum, and we host a spooky spectacular for the month of October. And our 2 most popular events, which is karaoke nights that host about 30 to 40 students, and sports day that as a club, we voted to have twice a month that holds about 40 to 55 students.
Added to that, we're keeping up these upcoming months with some other events like sports days, this upcoming Friday, desert hike, and open mic activity. We're going to be having a Friendsgiving potluck, the November 21st, and we're going to be hosting some World Cup watch parties. Other events are also being held for the remainder of the month of December and November. And we would also like to thank for their support, our program president, Cody McCabe, our program assistant and club advisor, Marbella Ordaz, our club advisor, Maria Herrera, our counselor, Ken Hoon, and this board of trustees and President Garcia. And now we proceed to read the proclamation. So whereas the first International Education Week was first held in 2000 and was a joint initiative of the US Departments of State and Education, and whereas today IEW is celebrated in more than 100 countries worldwide, and is an opportunity to celebrate the benefits of international education and exchange worldwide. Whereas exchanges are critical to developing mutual understanding and respect, building leadership abroad, fostering an appreciation for the US, and investing in the future relationships between Americans and people around the world.
Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and students recognize and appreciate the many benefits of international education, and be it further proclaimed that the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District are pleased to acknowledge the week of November 14th to the 18th, 2022 as International Education Week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Okay. Item number 5, minutes. 5.01, approval of October 21st, 2022, regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular meeting minutes of October 21st, 2022? Okay, if there are no corrections, they stand approved. Item number 6, 6.01, reports, Associated Students of College of the Desert, ASCOD. We have our speaker, Kelly Merchant, ASCOD Vice President.
Good morning. Sorry. Okay, good morning. ASCOT has recently had their first major event for October as we hosted Halloween night for students, staff, and families. The people who showed up were amazing to see, along with the joy and spirit that was brought back to campus. We're thankful for those who attended, and we are excited to host more events in the future. As for our ASCOT group, we have recently had 2 new appointments for the Officer of Academic Affairs, Natalie Upp, and Isaac Zarco as our independent senator. We are excited to see some numbers come in our group and represent student voices, and are hopeful for more student engagement and involvement with ASCOT grows throughout the year. Thank you.
Okay, we have no report from the College of the Desert Foundation this month. We do have a report from the Alumni Association. We have Betsy Young, Alumni Association Executive Director.
And Betsy, you should be able to unmute yourself. Good morning, when you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. The Alumni Association wishes everyone a wonderful November with cooler temperatures and the holiday season upon us. It is a beautiful time of year. The Street Fair will be celebrating its 40-year anniversary in 2023, and I've started to gather and write the stories of our vendors as a part of recording our history. Today, I want to take you back to 1989, when the Street Fair was still relatively new, and the #1 song was "Every Rose Has Its Thorn." I'll pause while you finish singing that in your head. Some of you might have to Google it, and just so you know, we didn't have Google back then either. Ed and Josie Galang were living and working in Los Angeles, both with full-time jobs, raising 3 young children. They dreamed of giving their children a good education and realized that even with their combined incomes, it would not be possible. Determined to make their mission a reality, they started their own business at the street fair, selling tools and accessories. During those early years, they traveled with their children from Los Angeles to College of the Desert to set up and run their business every weekend. They were teaching their children the value of hard work and realizing their dream of sending them to good educational institutions. This month marks the 33rd anniversary of Ed and Josie's business opening at the street fair. You'll find them there with their tools and accessories booth every Saturday and Sunday. Today, they no longer commute from Los Angeles because they fell in love with the desert community and made it home. Their dream and mission came true as their children all received their college degrees and postgraduate studies at the University of San Diego, Academy of Arts in San Francisco, UC Berkeley, and Columbia University. Ed and Josie send their heartfelt thanks to the College of the Desert family, the management and staff, co-vendors, and patrons alike for the realization of their life's mission. The Alumni Association has contributed over $14 million to support students at College of the Desert. We completed our promise of $750,000 to the pledge program in 2020. This would not be possible without the street fair and vendors like Ed and Josie. Thank you for the opportunity to share their story.
Thank you. Okay. California School Employees Association, CSEA, Craig Donahue.
Good morning, Board of Trustees and Dr. Garcia. I'm Craig Donahue, reporting as a current CSEA Chapter 407 member. CSEA would first like to thank all of our veterans who have served this country with such honor. Thank you for everything you do to protect this country and our freedoms. CSEA continues to work with the district on the custodian's job description. We hope we can agree on a new MOU that will allow custodians a 5% pay increase once certified in OSHA 10. We are also discussing the staff shortage the custodians are expecting and hope to add more custodial staff soon. CSEA would like to echo CODA's message on parity. CSEA stands in support of our adjunct faculty sisters and brothers. The College of the Desert's mission statement states, quote, "We embrace the diversity of our community and uphold the dignity and worth of the individual," end quote. Every individual who works or attends the College of the Desert is worthy of being treated equally and equitably. Speaking of parity, CSEA echoes the Academic Senate's concern regarding the President's new contract proposal that states Dr. Garcia will increase her salary and extend her severance pay by half a year. Custodians cannot receive a 5% step increase at a range 8 since 1975. However, funds can be used to increase the president's pay by 12%. The disparity is glaring to CSEA. CSEA would like to thank Vice President Vigo for working with us on several staffing issues for public safety. We look forward to filling positions to serve our great institution better. There have been many leadership changes here at the College of the Desert, and we are grateful to all classified staff who can either step in and assist with these transitions or help to make these transitions easier. As most within the College of the Desert know, voicemail has been restored now. New systems were built from the ground up, and CSEA would like to thank the following individuals for working hard to get these systems up and running: Michael Gale, Miguel Pena, and Jim Lilly. IT has been working hard to rebuild systems, stabilize the network, and migrate over to more secure appliances. CSEA would like to thank Executive Director Stuart Davis for helping to push these much-needed changes. Lastly, CSEA would like to thank our maintenance and grounds workers and custodians. They have been working understaffed for many years and still do a fantastic job supporting the College of the Desert's needs. CSEA hopes everyone has an excellent 3-day weekend celebrating Veterans Day. Thank you, CSEA Chapter 407.
Thank you, Craig. And College of the Desert Adjunct Association, CODA, Senorina Salivar, CODA representative, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Superintendent, President, members of the board, and college community. CODA would like to thank our veterans for their service and wish the Marine Corps a very happy birthday. College of the Desert Adjunct Association is pleased that negotiations with the districts have reopened on the issue of parity. Parity is important because it is the tangible recognition of the value adjuncts bring to college. It is a demonstration of our mutual commitment to the values and goals of the institution and is the basis for trust. Parity was the promise made by the chancellor in 2001. As a college, we have committed to diversity, equity, and inclusions. Without parity, there can be no equity. Without equity, there can be no inclusion. Without inclusion, there can be no acceptance of diversity. CODA's Equity Committee was represented by Gary Graves at the CTA LGBTQ+ Issues Conference that was held in Palm Springs, October 28th to the 30th. We look forward to incorporating this learning into our Spring Flex, which will be held on January 25th, 2023 via Zoom. CODA also expects to host a local workshop on LGBTQ+ issues in spring. CODA would like to thank HR VP Galindo and Terry Wilson, and Fiscal Services VP Beagle, Tony Carrillo, Diana Guijarro, and the payroll team, Alma, Tristan, and Yvonne, for their ongoing help to resolve many adjunct pay issues and questions about the 2.5% off-schedule payment. Catherine A. Levitt, PhD, President, CODA.
Thank you. Okay, we have a written report submitted by the College of the Desert Faculty Association, and so we'll go ahead and move on to the Academic Senate. Dr. Kim Dozier, welcome.
Only takes 10 times to remember how to do something, right? I also want to wish the Marines a happy birthday. My father is a veteran, and he doesn't always remember his and my mother's anniversary, but he never forgets that today is the Marine Corps birthday. Thank you all for your service. I did not originally intend to submit a Senate report this month. Faculty continue to work hard. Spring Flex is being planned, and everyone is glad the heat has now passed. I have shared openly the frustrations many are feeling, which seems to fall on deaf ears, so why just repeat those frustrations? I was going to take the day off from sitting here and attend to my job as a teacher and lead a fruitful Senate meeting at 12:30. But then the board agenda was posted on Monday, and I was bombarded by more frustration with item 14.03, the modification extension of Dr. Garcia's contract. The language of the contract is unclear, and some have read it as a 12% plus COLA, and some have read it as COLA equals 12%, although the numbers of 5.07 and 6.5% do not equal 12%. But what is not unclear is that Dr. Garcia is being given a 12% raise, an extension of contract, and a significant change in severance terms after less than 18 months, despite ongoing enrollment challenges as we move closer to the end of our hold harmless period, numerous resignations of key personnel, and a complete inability to fill those positions in a timely manner. We're still without a director of institutional research after 5 months. A lack of understanding of our basic processes and continued chaos in the community we serve. Currently, the college claims it can't afford parity for adjunct faculty. We do not have up-to-date cybersecurity tools, resources, and our poor IT staff are being run ragged due to a lack of filled positions. We just heard concerns over our ability to support the total cost of ownership for new campus sites. I've heard from administrative colleagues that the college has proposed withdrawing matching 403B compensation for managers and directors. And I continue to hear concerns from faculty and staff who were on campus on Friday, October 28th, when there was an armed suspect on campus, or was it an active shooter? I received the attached anonymous email, which is included in the board packet this week, and feel compelled to share it as it details the fear that gripped many on campus that day, which was compounded by a slow response from the leadership, and then inadequately addressed those fears in any meaningful way. And let's not even get into the timing of this contract extension and raise designed to hamper any possible new board members who have been elected this week from making a leadership change if deemed necessary. Really, do you think we not notice these things? I was asked by a colleague, and I quote, "Who is the district in the line of recommended action? The district recommends the board approve the amended contract." I had to admit I had no idea. Did Dr. Garcia make this recommendation herself? Human Resources? The superintendent president is your only employee, and it's usually the boss who gives a raise, so I'm left to assume that you are making this recommendation to yourself. Really? You tell the community and college employees that you do not have money, but then you magically come up with money for Dr. Garcia. Well done, as always.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the governing board. Student trustee Paul.
Good morning. I have been engaged in conversations with students about their feelings of taking courses at College of the Desert. The most common trend is that students are struggling to take courses at College of the Desert based on their schedule due to many factors that individuals have encountered while taking our offered courses. While these courses already have a set schedule of their own for students and staff, I encourage COD to investigate in asynchronous courses offerings to open more opportunities for students who are unable to take courses on their scheduled times. From recent workshops that I've attended previously, along with experience of my own as a student at COD, creating your own schedule seems to be the concern for students, and from experience myself, as there are factors that affect students to not either take courses here or that affect their schedules of their own, as students who are enrolled and are not able to just because of those factors. I believe if we are open to this type of pathway of course offerings for all classes, it will improve the numbers of students who want to come to COD to succeed. As a student, as students are figuring out diversity ways of attending COD or community college and adjusting to their factors outside of their education, it brings more opportunities for them to be engaged in career options and could avoid any potential delays of taking courses or holding them back from getting their education. I also want to mention that I have been interested in a civic engagement for the Inland Empire region, and this group has a goal, or the group's goal is to see and discuss student needs and highlight college issues. I'm excited to be part of this group as I believe it will help bring ideas and potential ways to get in depth with students on our campus overall. And I may have to exit early by 1:30 if the meeting continues because I have class.
No worries, no worries.
But that is all from my report.
Great, thank you, student trustee Paul. Trustee Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It'll be short. I have to say this has been one of the most negative and expensive election races I've participated in, filled with lies and accusations from my challenger. But if the final count shows a change in this seat, then so be it. I am proud of my record here and leave with my integrity intact.
Thank you, trustee Wilson. It was great to serve with you. You're a great colleague. Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'll be brief as well. I just want to, say happy birthday, of course, to the Marines. I have several in my own family. So, just thank you all and all veterans in general for your service, especially faculty members here. I did have an opportunity to attend a conference recently, ACCT, and as always, just, continues to fuel the fire that has already, been brewing inside me for many years. But just continuing this work. And it's not easy work, and, as my fellow trustee has mentioned, it's unfortunate that, this institution has been overshadowed by this campaign. Pretty obvious the involvement. And speaking of which, I'm not sure exactly what the speaker was referring to, but in 2019, I was not a trustee. So just a little more proof of, the misinformation. I was elected in 2020. So just for point of clarification. But again, as my colleague said, the voters speak, and, we honor what they do. No efforts here in trying to overturn who's hired as a president, who's elected, or anything else. But I do want to appreciate all the amazing work that has gone on here. I do see the emails. I know our PIO does a great job on social media highlighting all of the amazing and wonderful events that go on here at the college. And I just, want to say that it's really, really amazing to see. As well with the food pantry, I thought that is, just a great, addition for our students. And I think it speaks to the fact that, we are able to solidify those relationships that we have with many organizations and in the community. And I do want to say, to staff that I know there's a lot of conversation about things on the agenda that may be, political or timely, and I'll let our chair, explain that when it comes, but um, it's really interesting, right? Because we heard at the last board meeting, right before elections, so a poll was taken. I understand the size of that faculty is over 400. And, it was important for them to highlight the 15 negative remarks, but nonetheless, they have every right to voice it, and we do appreciate it. But, look over there. That seems to be a common thing. But with all that said, we will continue to work hard. I will continue to do what I do and serve with the utmost integrity. And, I will hold myself to the fire before anyone else does. So with that, I just, want to say thank you, and I hope everyone has a great holiday. Hopefully you're able to take some time off and enjoy it with your family, and I just wish everyone safe travels if you're traveling, and if you're not, hopefully you get to rest, relax, catch up on whatever you need to catch up on, and we'll see you in December. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Yant.
Thank you. While I've, excuse me, while I've officially retired from Cal State, I still retain active participation as a textbook author. And this past month has been very active as we've been working with different committees to address concerns of diversity, equity, and inclusion in textbooks. And while the concerns are obvious, the remedies are less obvious. And sometime in the future, I hope to report to the board some actions that we can all take to ensure more accessibility, more diversity and equity in our textbook selections. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Yant. Trustee Stefan.
First off, I'd like to thank all of our veterans for their service and their sacrifice, but not only the veterans, but also their families, because I know how much they sacrifice the loss of the individual while they are in their service. Let me extend my greatest heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you and to each of your family members. Also, happy birthday to the Marine Corps and happy 40th anniversary to the street fair. I was really heartened to see the food pantry opened up this last month, and that's a step forward. And as I tell my students every day when I teach, it doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is that you pick yourself up and you brush yourself off and you try again, because one day you will succeed. I know the election was this last week. I know that it was disheartening for some and I guess rewarding for others. I want to wish Aurora the very best for her future endeavors on her life's journey. I know she has many great things left to do. I remember the times we spent together at conferences, presenting at Bellwether. I know she's worked really hard with the Friends of the Library for College of the Desert and the Foundation, and she sat on the Bond Oversight Committee and really committed herself to those endeavors while she's been here for the good and benefit of our students. I want to congratulate Ruben and Joel, and as we move forward, every day is a new day. Hopefully, we will make progress. And, I've been at this college since 1999. Some of you I know have been here longer than me and have seen more ups and downs. We do go up, we do go down. I don't know, sometimes I think that it would be nice if we could just have an even keel, but life never works that way either. And I know that right now, um, things seem to be very, very dark, but I know that together we can reach out, we can hold our hands together, and we can move forward. All we have to do is find the common ground and move on with it. So with that, I am grateful for each and every individual at our college, each and every one of our students, each and every one of our employees, and I'm grateful for everyone in the community for their interest and their concern within our college. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stefan. I'll be brief as well. As if the results do hold true, I will be representing Area 1 for College of the Desert. We're cautiously optimistic. I'd also like to thank Trustee Wilson for her years of service to College of the Desert and just, just everything that you do in the community. You're a superstar in the community. And I also want to give a happy birthday shout out to the Marine Corps and thank all of our veterans for their service as well. I had the opportunity to attend the press conference for the food pantry last month, and what a beautiful event. Thank you to everyone who helped put that together and put it on. It was amazing. What a great resource that we have there for our students and for our community now. I think that's it for me for today. Looking forward to a positive meeting. Thank you. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you. First of all, I want to start by honoring the Marines and our veterans and our active military. And like always, thank the team for all they do every day and our students for being amazing always. I'd like to request that you proceed to the next slide, please. The Indio Central Pantry opening was mentioned. We celebrated the ribbon cutting ceremony on November 1st. State leaders, Fine Food Bank, and College of the Desert, Californians for All College Corps fellows were in attendance in addition to employees. So we're extremely grateful to Assemblymember Garcia, to the representatives from the governor's office, to our amazing COD team who worked tirelessly to ensure that everything was ready and that the pantry is as beautiful as it is, and our students. Next slide. Here we're showcasing a few more pictures in regards to this event. Next slide. The State of the College event. I want to make sure that I wholeheartedly acknowledge the COD Foundation, the Foundation Board, and everyone who attended this beautiful event. We held it on October 26th at the Renaissance Esmeralda, and more than 200 people, 250 people were in attendance. So I am extremely pleased and grateful. Next slide. Some additional events of the State of the College. Next slide. The Halloween block party, the South Annex Programs and Services hosted a block party on October 26th. It was a great event, well attended, so I want to thank everyone that helped coordinate the event, everyone that participated. It was amazing, great energy. It was just a really, really fun event. Next slide. Here are some additional pictures of that day. And the next slide. Homecoming game. COD held its homecoming game against Compton College on October 22nd. It was a great victory for COD. The score was 35-12. We have one more game that will determine if we potentially participate in a bowl. So very proud of our students. They are amazing, and thankful to the athletic team, the entire athletic team, for their support to our students and our athletes. Next slide. This slide showcases some of the events that I did participate in. I want to mention that yesterday I had the opportunity to attend the Lift to Rise State Budget Victory Celebration. They were awarded $15 million to support the efforts of providing additional housing to our community. And it was just very nice to see how the community comes together in order to support those that need the most help. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Moving on to item number 7, consent agenda 7.01. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. Are there any requests to separately consider any of the consent items?
Chair Perez,
Yes, Trustee Yant.
I'd like to pull 9.02.
Okay. Is there anything else? Okay.
Mr. Chair, you needed a motion and a second.
All right, do we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 9.02?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Stefan. Is there a second? Second by Trustee Gonzalez. Roll call vote, President Garcia.
Student Trustee Paul,
Yes.
Trustee Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Yant,
Yes.
Trustee Stefan,
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to item number 9.02. Trustee Yant.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, apologize. We need a motion to approve 9.02 as presented.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Stefan. Is there a
Second.
Second by Trustee Yant. Go ahead, Trustee Yant.
Yes, of course, we're all sorry when people move on to other positions, but I can't let the day pass without saying some words about Julia Breyer, who's leaving us. Julia has been such a help to the Board of Trustees and such a help to me as a trustee, and done a wonderful job. It's been really appreciated. I'm sorry to see her leave, and I just want to take the time to express real personal thanks to her.
Most definitely, yeah. We thank her for everything that she did for the board and for the district.
And I want to also acknowledge the fact that she was very gracious to all of the students, trustees, as well as the trustees, but she was also a wonderful mentor for all of the students that did their work experience with her in the president's office. And I know that they appreciated her tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stefan. Okay, if there's no more discussion, roll call vote, President Garcia.
Student Trustee Paul,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
Trustee Yant,
Yes.
Trustee Stefan,
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 13.01. Action, Board of Trustees, 13.0, Resolution Number 111022-1, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Desert Community College District making findings and determinations under AB 361 for continued virtual meetings. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.01 as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Paul. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, we have a second by Trustee Stefan. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote, President Garcia.
Student Trustee Paul,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
Trustee Yant,
Yes.
Trustee Stefan,
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
13.02, Board Policy 6307, Debt Issuance and Management, second reading. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.02 as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Gonzalez. I'll go ahead and second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote, President Garcia.
Student Trustee Paul,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
Trustee Yant,
Yes.
Trustee Stefan,
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 14.01, extension of the interim assignment. It is now time to consider the item 14.01 on the agenda, where it is recommended that the board approve the extension of the interim employment agreement for the interim dean of applied sciences and business and interim associate dean of student services. This recommended action will approve the employment agreement commencing on September 7, 2022 through June 30, 2023 for the interim dean of applied sciences and business, and employment agreement commencing on January 1st, 2023 through January 30, 2023 of the interim associate dean of student services pursuant to Government Code 54953C. A summary of the terms of the agreement includes a monthly base salary for the column 9 of the leadership salary schedule, a monthly base salary of $14,101.29, reflective of range 10, column 10 of the leadership salary schedule for the interim associate dean of student services, as well as provisions for evaluation and fringe benefits comparable to other similar leadership employees for each role. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.01 as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Yant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Stefan. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Yes.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item 14.02, interim employment agreement. It is now time to consider item 14.02 on the agenda, where it is recommended that the board approve the interim employment agreement for the interim director of Public Safety Academy. This recommended action will approve the employment agreement commencing on October 19, 2022 through June 30, 2023 pursuant to Government Code 54953C. A summary of the terms of the agreement includes a monthly base salary of $11,504.98, reflective of range 9, column 7 of the leadership salary schedule, as well as provisions for evaluation and fringe benefits comparable to other similar leadership employees. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.02 as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Yant. I'll go ahead and second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Yes.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item number 14.03, amendment to employment contract for superintendent president to extend term and modify base and termination salary. This recommended action will approve the amended employment agreement for the superintendent president as stipulated in that public agenda item. The amended agreement has revisions to provision 1, term, provision number 3, base salary and stipend, and provision number 12, conditions and requirements mandated by Government Code Section 53260. A summary of the terms and agreements includes an annual salary of $397,467.20, reflective of the approved COLA increases for management of 500.07% for 2021 through 2022 and 6.56% for 2022 through 2023. And for management and leadership, as well as revised terms of employment and through determination payout terms, which are similar to executive leadership employees. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.03 as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Gonzalez. Any discussion? I'll go ahead and open it up. I brought this item up as chair. Legally, Dr. Garcia cannot bring it forward herself. We went over the evaluation last month, and this month, at the subsequent meeting, we're taking action. I believe that she's done a great job, given the circumstances that she came under. Projects are underway, and this is a COLA adjustment that was promised to her. So, with that said, I'm asking for an aye vote, but we're
Sure.
opening it up for discussion.
Chair Perez,
Go ahead.
I would make a motion to postpone action for 1 month to the next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Dr. Garcia, we have a motion on the table to postpone item 14.03 to our December board meeting. Can you take a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Student
Sir, you need discussion on the,
Oh, is there any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, let's take a vote on the motion. Dr. Garcia, roll call vote.
Student trustee Paul.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
No.
Trustee Gonzalez.
No.
Trustee Yant.
Yes.
Trustee Stefan.
Yes.
And trustee Perez.
No. We have a tied vote.
the student trustees is advisory votes or?
Oh, okay.
3, 3 noes, 2 yeses, motion fails.
Okay, so the motion fails. Alrighty, so we're opening it up for discussion now to take the item up today. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul,
Aye.
trustee Wilson,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Young,
No.
trustee Stefan,
No.
trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, 14.04, public hearing and approval of initial proposal for the College of the Desert Adjunct Association and the Desert Community College District. We will now conduct a public hearing on the initial proposal for the College of the Desert Adjunct Association and the Desert Community College District. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to acknowledge the College of the Desert Adjunct Association and the Desert Community College District proposal that the parties commence negotiations. For the public hearing, each speaker is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes on the topic. 15 minutes shall be the maximum time allotment for public speakers on the subject, regardless of the number of speakers at any one board meeting. At the discretion of a majority of the board, these time limits may be extended. With speakers, attendees who wish to address this item, please come forward, comment now in the chat field, or select the raise your hand button to speak. IT staff, please set a timer for 1 minute and to allow speakers to come forward.
Chair Perez, it does not seem that any speakers wish to comment on this item.
Okay, we have about 30 seconds left. We'll go ahead and just let the time run out that way, just in case anybody does want to come forward. Okay, having conducted the public hearing, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the College of the Desert Adjunct Association and the Desert Community College District's proposal, and that the parties commence negotiations. Do I have a motion to approve item 14.04?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Gonzalez. Is there a second?
Second, Wilson.
Second by trustee Wilson. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul,
Aye.
trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Young,
Yes.
trustee Stefan,
Aye.
trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 15, action administrative services, 15.01, budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve item 15.01 as presented?
So move.
We have a motion by trustee Stefan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Gonzalez. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul,
Aye.
trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Young,
Yes.
trustee Stefan,
Aye.
trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item number 15.02, notice of intent to award a contract for bid package number 4198P10102 DMAC. Do I have a motion to approve item 15.02 as presented?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Stefan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Wilson. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote. President Garcia.
Student trustee Paul,
Aye.
trustee Wilson,
Aye.
trustee Gonzalez,
Aye.
trustee Young,
Yes.
trustee Stefan,
Aye.
trustee Perez.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item number 16, information, Board of Trustees, 16.01, November 22 Capital Projects Report per resolution number 012122-3. This item is brought to the board today as information. I think we have Dr. Tafoya and Mac here to provide updates. Welcome, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
We would like to call your attention to the most notable updates, so we remain brief. So starting on page 2, for our athletics stadium program, we're pleased to report that we are actually starting construction document phase, and we are making plans for the temporary facilities that athletic needs during construction, which will be forthcoming in fall 2023 with preparations in summer of 2023. And then on page 3, Palm Springs Development Project. We'd like to make you aware that the advisory group has been meeting. They have met on September 28th, October 19th, November 2nd, and their next meeting is on November 16th. And we will be at 50% schematic design on November 18th. And we expect to have 100% schematic design work done by January 14th, with a presentation planned to the board to review that schematic design on January 20th. Then on page 4, Roadrunner Motors, we're happy to let you know that design development phase is commencing, and we're continuing to move forward. On page 6, excuse me, for the Coachella Chelsea property, the construction did commence in September, and we are expecting completion during the winter 2023 semester. On page 7, you'll see that we have some new pictures of our Indio campus expansion. There's a steel erection picture that we're happy to show you that began in September. And then on page 9, we have our Indio Child Development with a new picture of the underground utilities and concrete work that's in progress, and the completed steel erection that you'll see on that bottom picture. And then we'd be pleased to answer any questions that you have.
Is there any questions from the board?
I just have one, and just in speaking with the appointees that I have with the Palm Springs advisory, do you know if they are allowing for input, being that there's other communities that are going to be utilizing this campus, for their educational needs? Is there that, conversation that's allowing for that space for the surrounding communities to also give their input?
Are you asking if the members who are serving on the advisory committee are having outside conversations to represent their populations?
Well, no, because you wouldn't know that, but just, what I understanding and hearing is that, the conversation is still a bit dominant, to a specific industry. So I'm just asking if there is that space that's being provided for all of those voices to be heard and be able to, have all of the input that they should in the design and what should be offered there.
So the typical structure of the meetings is for the architects to present the work that they've accomplished since the last meeting, and then they pause at each junction. So they will, for example, talk about the layout on the campus, and then they will pause and ask for any feedback. And all of the members who attend have the opportunity to either speak or to provide comments in the chat, or they can provide comments via email either before or after a meeting. So I think the space is there. Whether everyone speaks up, I can't attest to that. I just know that we ask them.
I still have my concerns. I definitely support a West Valley campus, but just after hearing that feasibility study, I'm just super nervous about that. The last thing we need is a big, beautiful building without any students. So just those concerns. But thank you.
Trustee Stefan, can you take over until Trustee Pettis? Okay, please.
So Are there any other questions from the board related to this item? Seeing none. We'll move on to number 17, Trustee Perez.
Yes, Information Administrative Services.
Thank you.
Thank you both. 17.01, 2021 through 2022, audit responsibilities. At this time, I'd like to invite Rachel Green, Senior Manager with ED Bailey LLP, to present this item. Welcome, Rachel.
And Rachel, you're being moved to a panelist, so you may see a little message pop up. Okay. Rachel, you should be able to unmute yourself. Oh, there you are. Perfect.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to present to you today. I'm here to briefly present on our engagement planning letters that should have been forwarded to you by management. Next slide, please. So these planning letters, the short answer of why you receive them is our auditing standards require those. The auditing standards require that we communicate to those charged with governance, which is the board, regarding the plan timing, extent, and nature of our audit procedures. These engagement planning letters are to be sent out at least once a year when management is actually engaging with us or signs the engagement letter. And we typically send these to management, and then they are distributed to the board prior to the commencement of field work, and these are informational letters. Next slide, please. The objectives of the engagement planning letters are to communicate clearly with the Board of Trustees. Like I mentioned, we are required to communicate our plan scope and timing as it relates to the financial statement audits, as well as the compliance audits. Next slide, please. We are required to, so sorry about that. We are required to communicate with you regarding the impact of our audit report, our procedures that we take a risk-based approach to our audit. And really these letters are to help promote effective two-way communication between the auditor and the Board of Trustees. We are actually engaged to audit the college by the board. So we report directly to the board. We do not report directly to management of the college. So our responsibility for the audit is really between us and the Board of Trustees. And these letters are really to communicate that to you all and to let you know that this is an open communication. There's open lines of communication between us as well as the board if there are any concerns that you would like to communicate with us that we can address as a result of our audit procedures. Next slide, please. There may be some changes that you may have noticed from last year. That was due to the implementation of Statement on Auditing Standards number 134. This statement was effective for the audit of June 30th, 2022. And what this requires us to do is actually communicate additional significant risks identified based on the risk-based approach to our audits. And this just adds the additional transparency for us to communicate those risks, although they've always been present within our auditing procedures and our audit test work. And a significant risk is an audit area that we believe there may be a likelihood of a misstatement occurring and the potential magnitude of the misstatements. And we just want to call to your attention that those things do exist with any audit engagement. Next slide, please. The significant risks that we have identified specific to community college audits are management override of controls, revenue recognition, and there is an additional risk for the Desert Auxiliary Services because it is a nonprofit organization. There is also the risk of net asset classification, and this is specific to the net asset classification of with donor restriction or without donor restriction. Next slide, please. And that concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions specific to the engagement planning letters that you may have.
Thank you, Rachel. Are there any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item number 18, information, instruction, 18.01, academic senate resolution. This item is brought to the board today as information. Can we?
Chair Perez, I think we missed item 17.2.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Item number 17.2, COD Foundation Audit Report Overview from E.D. Bailey LLP. Please proceed, Rachel, whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. I'm not 100% sure if we have a presentation for this, or if we would like to share. There we go. There's the financial statements. Perfect. And I will make this pretty brief. So if we go to page 1 of the audit report, it will be our independent auditor's report. And this is the opinion over the financial statements of the College of the Desert Foundation. And if you've been on our meetings or looked at the financial statements recently, this may look a little bit different. And that again is as a result of that statement on auditing standards 134. What 134 required us to do is put that opinion right front and center, because a lot of the times, you know, that's what most people are concerned with when they are looking at an audit report, is they want to know what the opinion over the financial statements were. And for the College of the Desert Foundation, we are very pleased to report that we were able to issue an unmodified opinion over the financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2022. This is what's known as a clean opinion, formerly known as an unqualified opinion, and this is the highest level of assurance that we can provide as your auditors. So we're very pleased with the results of this audit. And moving along to the next couple pages. So these are just, again, our standard language that talk about the basis of our opinion, what my responsibilities as the auditor are, what management's responsibilities over the financial statements are. And this language is pretty standard from the prior year. So there were no real changes there. So moving on to the next page will be the statement of financial position for the foundation. Looking at this foundation statement of financial position, I was actually really excited. It's been a few years since I've worked on the foundation financial statements, and looking at this balance sheet, it's grown quite a bit, and that's really exciting to see. Going from the total assets of the foundation, we're looking at about 50 million. That's that number right there in the center of the page. This is a really healthy looking balance sheet, and the reason that I say that is the assets far exceed the liabilities of approximately 400,000, the majority of which look like they are due to the college just for those interchangeable activities between the foundation and the college, because they are so interrelated. Again, this is a good looking balance sheet, and down at the bottom you will see the remainder to balance your balance sheet is your net assets without donor restriction and with donor restriction. Moving on to the next page, we have the statement of activities. This is commonly referred to as a profit and loss statement or an income statement. You'll see the total revenues of the foundation without donor restriction and with donor restriction were just over $3 million, which I think is really exciting. Just, you know, coming out of COVID and moving back into a normal environment, it's exciting to see that the foundation was able to raise $3 million in the current environment. So that's great news. On the middle of the page, we have our expenses, and that is presented by function, summarized by function here on this page, about $3.4 million. And then down towards the bottom, we have our other income gains and losses, and this is specific to investing related items. You will see the net investment income is a negative $4.7 million. That was obviously related, the majority of which was due to the unrealized gains and the unrealized losses, on the foundation's investments, which was seen by pretty much everybody system-wide. All of our foundations had the same unfortunate investment activity for the year, and that is just as a result of our current economic conditions. With that being said, I think that will conclude my report on the foundation's financial statements. If there are any questions, I would be happy to report those, or I would happy to answer those questions.
Thank you again, Rachel. Is there any questions from the board?
No, it looks like everything's in order, correct?
Yeah, everything looks good.
Like the rest of our audits. Everything's in order.
Great.
Anything, Trustee Wilson? No.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
moving on to item number 18, information instruction, 18.01, academic senate resolution. This item is brought to the board today as information. Is there any questions from the board related to this item?
Chair Perez, do you actually mind repeating that item? It seems like we lagged a little bit on Zoom, and I just want to make sure anyone watching was able to catch.
Oh, of course,
the
yes.
end
So
of that.
we're on item number 18, information instruction, 18.01, academic senate resolution. This item is brought forward today as information. IT, can we pull it up, please, if you don't mind? Any questions from the board? Okay. If there's no questions, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 19, study sessions, 19.01, NASA Community College Aerospace Scholars NCAS program. This time I'd like to invite Professor Jorge Perez and Professor Donna Blanton to present this item. Welcome, Professor Perez and Blanton. Please proceed whenever you're ready.
Professor Perez has been added to the Zoom meeting, and I believe Professor Blanton is unable to join us today.
Okay. How's it going, Professor Perez? We understand that you're in Turkey or something.
No, I'm in Jerusalem now. I was in
okay.
Turkey. Yeah.
Well, we
I'm
appreciate
doing
you
pretty
taking
well.
the time.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to chat about NASA with y'all. So I know I only have about 10 minutes, so I'll try to be mindful of your time and everybody else's time. So I want to thank everyone for this invitation to talk about the progress that the students have made and how far the program has come. Okay, so I'll try to summarize about 6 years of work in about 10 minutes. So of course, at any point, any questions, you're welcome to ask. So let's go to the first slide, or the second slide, I guess. Like I said, this is about 6 years of work, so I'll try to make it very brief. It all started with the California Space Grant Consortium in the year 2016. This consortium is essentially, every state has one, and it's essentially there to promote STEM education among students, especially community college students and university students, through internships, scholarships. And in 2016, Dr. Carl Farmer gave me the opportunity to participate in this program with our students. So next slide. So I won't go over all the details, but we've had 4 years on this program. 2016, we had 3 teams, and I just want to put the names of the students there because they are the ones that deserve all the credit. And 2017, we had 5 teams. And then next slide. 2018, we had 3 teams, and then we jumped to 2022, and we had 2 teams. I'll explain the jump in just a second. Impossible to emphasize what every single team did and throughout these years. So I'll just mention kind of like some of the greatest hits, kind of some of the stories that I think you'll find very, very useful for programs like this, and I think very inspiring as well. So let's go to the next slide. So these are the teams from 2016 and 2017. On the top left, you have a group of students who created a drone from scratch. On the bottom left, you have a group of students who did research at the Salton Sea. So that's us, like at 5 a.m. at the Salton Sea. In the middle, you have a group of students who did or built an incubator for like $100. On the bottom right, you have a group of students, all of them computer scientists, who created a rover. And a lot of the students' parents came from the fields, working on the fields. And so the idea was twofold. for that one. If it was sent to Mars, if this rover were to go to Mars, the idea was to check for soil, but also here on Earth, it could help with things like agriculture. And this was something that the students decided to add on out of their own accord, based on what they saw the needs of the community were. But the one I want to emphasize is the top right. If you see the kid smiling with a black shirt, he's also in the middle picture. His name is Adan Sanchez. And so I want to share Adan Sanchez's story. So this is in 2017. Adan created a rover that could be controlled with your thoughts. And when he told me that he was going to do that, I thought he was a little crazy, but it actually worked. You were able to control a rover by concentrating, it will move forward, and by relaxing your thoughts, it will move back. And just so you know how far this went, he then went on to get his bachelor's in math and physics, and his master's in computer science. He invited me to his defense, to his thesis defense, and his thesis defense was on expanding this particular project, right? So something that started back in 2017 gave one of our students an ability to get a master's. Adan's a special kid. He's one of our undocumented students. He's okay with me sharing that. I talked to him. So he's definitely one of those success stories that you want to emphasize a lot. And one of those things that these programs actually help our students. And it's one of those stories that we want to keep in mind when we support programs like this. Okay. Next slide. All right, this is the video. I got a text message, I don't know, midnight. All what it said was, "We made it fly." And if you could play the video, please.
Yeah, I've got a low battery, but I don't think it's gonna affect it that much. Unless it's the battery.
Hello. Hey, how did it feel like? Did it feel like it was pulling it a lot?
Yeah, it was pulling it up.
So there's no sound, but that's okay. Essentially, these are the kids at the Mesa Center working really hard. And this was the first successful flight of the drone they created. Probably not the safest. As you can tell, nobody's wearing safety goggles or anything like that. But the point here is they made it fly and they were very happy. And again, this is one of those things that you can't really trade for anything. Next slide, please. All right, in 2018, in 2016 and 17, the students got to present their projects at Armstrong Flight Research Center, which is a NASA center. In 2018, the students got to present their work at the USC School of Engineering. And so these are just some pictures. I'm happy to go over more details on the question section, but for now, I just want to kind of show the students and their work. Next slide, please. All right, so NASA, because of 2016, 17, and 18, NASA started paying a lot of attention. And like, once again, the students really deserve all of the credit. So in 2018, I get a phone call from Houston, from Johnson Space Center, asking if COD will be interested on observing a program known as NASA Community College Aerospace Scholars, or NCAS for short. After some thought, talking to my previous dean, Dean Tabor, the answer was, yeah, we'll definitely shadow it and observe it. So next slide. All right, so the goals of the program, as it turns out, is to expose students to NASA missions expectations, the robotics competitions among 4 teams, Navy, red, gold, and green. Students essentially are competing for a NASA program or a NASA contract. Each team is supposed to represent a company. So each team consists of a CEO, a project manager, a chief engineer, public relations. There's a final presentation at the end of the program. We also teach the students soft skills, so how to interview, how to write a CV. We tour 4-year institutions, user websites, usually one of the ones we tour. We also tour STEM industry, so we've toured Google and we tour different engineering companies. And really one of the main things, if you were to ask me, what is the main thing that this program does, or what is my job in this program, is to inspire students, right? So we have students from all different majors, not just the classic STEM, math, science, engineering. We have art majors, agricultural sciences, music, architects, nurses, psychologists, you name it, right? The idea is to show that there is a place for NASA for all of them. NASA needs engineers as much as they need lawyers, as much as they need nurses, as much as they need psychologists. And the job of the program is to have a presence in the Coachella Valley and to show the students that there is a place for them and they should be able to see themselves in NASA if that's what they want to do. Next slide, please. So how does the application process work? Students must be US citizens, and there's 2 asterisks here. It used to be that you didn't have to be a US citizen, and actually COD, we spearheaded that. We talked to NASA directly, and for 2 years we were allowed to include non-US citizens, and this meant undocumented students, DACA students, residents. And so I was very proud of that work. For 2 years, we were able to use the funding for everyone. Unfortunately, things have changed. This is no longer true, which is why we were also able to go back, as you saw in 2022, to the Space Grant Program. Okay, so the idea is to have a place for all of our students, regardless of their status. Okay, so for this particular program, you have to be a US citizen, you have to have at least 3 STEM classes, and a letter of recommendation. The program consists of 2 phases. Phase 1, it's an online class, all the material provided by NASA. So our students do a 5-week program or a 5-week class where they learn about astrobiology, different missions to Mars, the moon, etc. And if they successfully complete phase 1, they move on to phase 2, which is the robotics competition I was talking about. Okay, next slide, please. So this is just some pictures of how this has been going. So this is 2018. The students that you see here are students actually from all over the nation. This is an IAMS research center in Silicon Valley. So I got to go and observe the program back in October of 2018. We were asked if we wanted to shadow the program and if we thought that this was possible to replicate at College of the Desert. And we said, sure, we'll do it. Next slide. So in 2019, the spring of 2019, Professor Richard Burns from geology and myself were invited to Langley Research Center in Virginia, where we got trained and actually were able to host the program along with NASA personnel so that we could bring the program back to COD. Next slide, please. And so 2019 comes along, we COD, and I've said this many times in many of the emails that you get from me, we were the very first college, community college in the nation to do this, right? So there was no plan. We were the ones that kind of set the standard. And I'm proud to say that we set the standard pretty high. We had people from NASA here in the Coachella Valley observing the whole program from 7 in the morning till 9 p.m. every day for a whole week. And so in 2019, we kind of paved the road for other community colleges, and they followed through, right? So we were the very first ones to do it, and we did very well. Next slide, please. And one of the cool things about 2019 is that I was able to invite mentors and speakers that were former COD students like myself. And so on the right, you'll see a Navy officer with his hands up. His name is Carlos Iñiguez. He was a COD student. He became an engineer. At that point, he was working, he was in the Navy at that point, and he was an engineer in the Navy. And it was very special to bring him back and to be one of the mentors for the students. On the left, you will see Dr. Jessie Christensen, who actually drove all the way from Pasadena just to talk to students, and she's one of the chief exoplanets researchers for Caltech. And on the bottom, you will see, kind of see her, the yellow dress, Sarah Rodriguez, former student who is now actually one of our professors in biology. talking to students about internships, right? So it was very cool to see these ecosystems form of the past, the present, and then hopefully for the future. All right, so that's 2019. Next slide, please. Obviously, 2020 happens, so we skip a year because of COVID. NASA on 2021 says we are having a program, yes or yes, like there is no alternative. So plan B was to do everything online. And so once again, we were the first ones to try this online, and we were very successful. The students created, if you see on the right, what we call 8 puffers. See if I remember, 8 puffers: autonomous, pop-up, flat folding, explorer, rover. And so the students had about 3 days to learn how to sketch and develop this rover. And as you can see, they did extremely well. The patch in the middle was created by some of our students. And so these are just pictures. Next slide, please. Pictures from the event. We got to talk to excellent people. Once again, Dr. Christensen from Caltech gave us a talk. But also we were very lucky. We were able to talk to Blue Origin. For those of you who don't know, that's Jeff Bezos' company, space company. And Blue Origin talked to us a week after they had gone to space. And so the person in charge of Blue Origin that talked to us was Madame Phelps. She was actually my French teacher, and she is now Director of Astronaut and Customers at Blue Origin. So the fact that we had 2 female speakers was actually pretty important, especially for our female students in STEM. And even they said it themselves at the end on the closing ceremony, right? It was really cool to hear them say things like, I believe in myself, I believe I can do this, right? And it's one of those things that kind of brings tears to your eyes, because that's kind of why we're doing this, to inspire the kids. And to hear them say that, I think that was really, really powerful. So that was 2021. And next slide, please. So once again, trailblazing, 2022 comes, and because of COVID, we did not have enough students to run a program by ourselves. So for the first time ever, once again, CUD leading the way, we combined with Cerritos College. And this was the first time an NCAS program was done with another college. And so our students, myself and Dr. Blanton, we went to LA to Cerritos, and we were there for about a week. And we did everything I just told you about, the robotics competition, the field trips. We did everything over there. And one of the reasons why we chose to go was because a lot of the industry is there, right? So as you can see at the bottom, Google had a day just for us and our students, right, to talk to them about possible job opportunities and what they do at Google. But even the simple things, like you'll see the top left, we were actually at Outback. So the first night we got there, we went to Outback, and even something as simple as eating a steak, right? Some of our students were saying things like, I've never had a steak like this, or I've never had steak, I've never had whatever. Don't ask me how much that dinner cost, so I'm not gonna tell you, but it was actually pretty good, right? Like it was actually a really good team bonding opportunity. Next slide, please. Just more pictures, right? So these are students from both Cerritos College and College of the Desert collaborating together. And it was very special to see them work together. They worked together as a family, even though they only knew each other, for about 4 days. So once again, CUD kind of setting the tone of how to do things and how to work with others, right? So the special thing about 2022 was that we were building bridges between schools. Okay. Next slide, please. And these are just pictures of the final presentations. So the students get to present in all 3 years, 2019, 2021, and 2022, to different members of the community. And so they get to present their work and they get graded. So they actually get feedback on their presentations. Next slide, please. And these are just quick pictures of the competition. I won't go too much into detail, but essentially the idea is you have to build a rover. Essentially, the rover has to work autonomous, so you can be touching it when it's doing its thing. The idea is to mimic what happens in Mars. So hence the reddish mat that you see on the floor. And so there's certain tasks that you have to perform. We tell you what the tasks are. Your rover has to perform it. And the transformation from competition 1 to competition 2 is usually pretty amazing. Students rise above and beyond our expectations every time. Next slide, please. So that's kind of the past event, guys, right? Where we are and where are we going. There are some changes that are being made. Next year, Lancaster is going to look a little different. But the idea is to keep really, first and foremost, to keep inspiring students, right? To let them know that they can do it. Let them know that they can work at NASA, they can work at Google, they can work at Blue Origin, they can work at Caltech, that there's definitely a place for them there. Obviously, the students learn to trust themselves, which is extremely important, especially in the STEM fields. The students, all of the students who go through the program kind of have a leg up on internships. So this is an official NASA program. So if any of our students apply for a NASA internship, they will automatically get put at the top of the pile because they have this experience. So far, we've had over 50 students that have gone through the program. I think the exact number is 53. And there is now a new development, something called Mission 3. So the first 2 phases are Mission 1 and Mission 2. And Mission 3, you get to work with actual engineers at an actual NASA center. So these are very important for our students, for their development as professionals, but also as human beings, and to develop trust in themselves. Next slide, please. And so, I just want to say thanks to pretty much a lot of people. The whole COD has always been very kind and very helpful, from the janitors to Job at the printing center, Cynthia and Nick and the public relations. Definitely a big shout out to Dr. Donna Blanton and Professor Richard Burns, because we don't get paid for this. Our payment is to see our students succeed. So the fact that they donate their time, it's always been amazing. So I want to make sure I thank them. Dean Holman, Dr. Butler, the foundation, people from the different politicians like Eduardo Garcia and Raul Ruiz, always providing certificates and support. And I have Dr. Garcia, and I want to say something about Dr. Garcia just because I have this panel and this opportunity. I've worked with NASA for 6 years, and I worked at COD for 11. And Dr. Garcia has been the only president that has ever reached out to me both publicly and privately and said to me how much he appreciates this work that we're doing. And at least as a human being, as a person, I really want to say thank you for that. It actually means a lot. And I just want to make sure, I don't know if she's here, but I just want to make sure that she hears this, and I want to make sure that people hear this as well. Because like I said, we don't get paid for this, and just some nice words of things like you're appreciated and we appreciate what you do, they tend to go a long way. So I just want to thank you for that. Next slide, please. And that's it. I probably said too much. I probably went over my 10 minutes. I'm happy to go over any specific things, anything that maybe it's not clear. The presentation was originally 30 minutes long, so I had to cut it down, so hopefully it makes sense still. But I'm happy to take questions or anything that wasn't clear, anything you want me to go over.
Thank you, Professor Perez. Always impressed by the work of our amazing students. Do we have any questions from the board?
No, I just also want to congratulate you, Professor Jedi Perez, for all of the amazing work that you do. Obviously, as I stated before, I wasn't here in 2019. You all were. And it's just amazing to see, all the work that's been done and is continuing. I see these presentations and I'm sitting here smiling because I'm a huge advocate for STEM or STEAM even. And Jedi Perez made a comment that is very, very important, in that the field of STEM itself does not have a lot of women or girls or anyone, who identifies. And it's really amazing to see the work that has been done And obviously, a space has been created, and credit to leadership here and Jedi Perez, for affording that opportunity. Because I know in the short time that I've gotten to know you, you have a very infectious personality. Like you want to be around. If I was a student here, I would definitely join just because you're super cool, and that's important, right? It's really important to have people that can connect with our students, that understand their challenges, their background, their circumstances, and are able to turn all of that into such a positive thing. And just you trailblazing, and in the partnerships that you have built and everything else. I just want to really just say thank you. And I also want to, appreciate you taking the time to do this, and your positive comments about our amazing president. Because as we all know, unfortunately, a lot of the amazing things that go on here at the college, for the last about year and a half have just been, overshadowed. But these are the things that keep me smiling, keep me committed, keep me going. And I'm really happy that you feel supported and that you have the ganas to continue to keep going. And I look forward to the next amazing thing you're gonna do, because I'm sure you're already thinking about it. So muchas gracias.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And yeah, you better believe it. Already thinking about it.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to recognize that, and she's probably going to get mad at me for doing this, but in the audience today is Rosemary Ortega. Rosemary taught here at COD for many years, and her late husband was Carlos Ortega, who was city manager for the city of Palm Desert for a number of years. And we serve on nonprofits together, and she approached me about wanting to give a contribution to COD, but not quite sure where, where should I put this money to? And so I mentioned the NASA project to her. And so she has met with folks and talked with the foundation people about it. And I told her about the presentation today. And she has graciously, I think, contributed to the funding of that program. So just wanted to recognize her. And these are the things, the kind of programs that, need to be recognized, by people out there in the community, the great things that we are doing for our students. So thank you, Rosemary, and thank you, Professor Perez.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just want to thank Professor Perez, because I've been at this college a long time, and I remember when we started with NASA, and I remember how grateful I was that we were going to have that opportunity. But to keep it going and to keep moving forward and to keep being the focal for other community colleges, not only in our state, but across the nation, I mean, that is really, really important. And it really puts our students far ahead when they go on to the next level. And it's something I'm very, very grateful for on behalf of our students, because it's something that they need to be at the forefront. They are really the greatest students, I think, in the world. That's my opinion always of my students here. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have to believe that ourselves, right? In order for them to get through it, we have to believe that in our hearts. And so I remember when I was recruiting people for this program, Dr. Blanton and Professor Burns, I said, we don't pay. And the only requirement is you have to believe that you're going to change the world through this, right? And so we sincerely believe that that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Professor Perez, this is Dr. Garcia. I did hear you, and I just want to say thank you tremendously. I thank you and the faculty and Mr. Farmer, who is here with his lovely wife. We are your biggest fans, but most importantly, the students are. The students whose lives you touch, whose minds you inspire and motivate. I'm sincerely grateful and sincerely touched by your words. Definitely come in good timing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia.
Yeah, and thank you, Professor Perez, for for all your work and your role that you play here at College of the Desert. I think my colleague Trustee Gonzalez said it really well. You do so much for our students and for College of the Desert just in general. So just want to acknowledge that and appreciate you and appreciate Dr. Blanton as well for everything that they do as it relates to this program. I have a question regarding the citizenships immigration status
Yeah.
caveat. What's the reasoning for that? Why was it waived a couple of years and then they brought it back? Is there any way that it could be waived again in the future or anything like that so we can provide that opportunity for AB 540, our documented students?
Yeah, naturally, yeah, that's a great question. So I'll start with the second part. So the reason why, if you saw in the presentation, there was a gap, right? So we went from 2018 to 2022. It's because when the news came that only US citizens could go into NCAS, I talked to California Space Grant and they invited us back to the program. So now we have two NASA programs happening at the same time. Aside from Dr. Al-Shafi, which I think he presented last week, that's separate. And the reason why even though it's a lot more work, I accepted the second program is because the second program allows for non-US citizens to participate. Okay, so several of our non-US citizens were able to participate in California Space Grant 2022, but not in NCAS. Okay, so this is a topic, especially the story I shared with you about Adan Sanchez. It's very dear to me, right? Like this is not something I'm gonna let go. So if that means I have to do 2 and 3 programs at the same time, then so be it. That's what's gonna happen because I want everybody to have an opportunity. So that's kind of the second part of your question. So at the very least, we have that, right? There is something for everybody right now. So let me answer the first part of your question. So what happened? So what happened in 2019 was the leadership change at NASA. So that's really, I think, the most honest answer. So we met with NASA, told them about our situation at CAD. Obviously, Cerritos College was in a similar situation. Their numbers of undocumented students, it's important, right? So while we spearheaded it, a lot of the other colleges backed us up. And the leadership back then in NASA said, okay, no problem. We are gonna write on this grant, 25% of your funding can go to non-US citizens, regardless of status. From what I understand, when I talked to NASA in 2022, this changed because when you have students who are undocumented, you can't, and this is federal money, you can't report that to whoever they have to report their data, right? Like at the end. So because of reporting issues, they went back to just US citizens, right? So I would say even the mere fact that we had this for 2 years was kind of a giant win. At the very least, it's we have the precedent now. So in the future, we can probably fight for this again. But the reason why it changed, I think, is because there's a lot of leadership changes, right? So the activity manager, for example, of NCAS moved on to a higher position. And so essentially created a vacuum, right? And so we didn't have the same type of support. But trust me when I tell you, if it's not through NCAS, I will find a way so that all of our students have an opportunity. And I'm proud to say, as of now, everybody does, right? We have the California Space Grant Program and we have the NCAS program. And so everybody has a chance to participate.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. It's a little disappointing that unfortunately the program doesn't allow undocumented students, but happy to hear that we have another option for our students that want to do it as well.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. Is there any other questions from the board? Any comments or anything? Okay, well, thank you so much, Professor Perez, for everything that you do, and may the force be with you.
May the force with you all.
Okay, item number 19.02, Black Student Success Center, All African Diaspora Education Summit debrief. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Cathcart and Dr. Cohn and Mary Eden, Black Student Success Center faculty advisors, to present this item. Morning, welcome.
Okay. Oh, all right. Even better with the mic. Wonderful. First things first, we'd like to say thank you. If it were not for you, we would not have had the opportunity to go on this trip. Oh, yes, perfect. And we are, wow, just beyond grateful for the experience and the opportunity. It is no overstatement to say that it was truly a life-changing experience. If we had more time, we would we would just play photos, but we'd like to tell you a little bit more about what we did here. So you could see us here up on the left. This is as we left the airport, LAX. And I should say that our group was a group of 7 that consisted of our president, Dr. Garcia, 3 advisors, Mary Eden, myself, and Dr. Cathcart, who unfortunately cannot be with us at the moment, but really wanted to be. And really importantly, we had 3 students make their first trip. And really for all of us, it was our first trip to the continent. And so it was mind expanding for all of us. Next slide, please. Probably this one. Probably this one. Okay, perfect. Here are just a few shots of us together. As you can see, eating meals together, which of course, you gotta eat, but eating together is community oriented. It builds communication and strength between the group of us that went to Ghana. You can see us here in the center on our journey. This is a pit stop that we made on the journey from the capital city of Accra to Cape Coast, 4 hours away. So this is along the way. And here on the right-hand side, when you see us here all dressed in white, this was actually the first day of the conference that we attended. To be honest, it was quite a moving day, which I'll tell you a little bit more as we go on, but you could see that, you see all of us in white. Imagine the whole of the conference dressed in white together for a ceremony. It was quite visually stimulating for the eye to see that many people. Next slide, please. All right, so we only have a little bit of time, but what we'd like to do is ground our brief presentation in a few things. One is the theory that grounded this trip, this journey, truly the conference itself. We'll share some experiences from our trip, truly describe a little bit about how the trip has changed us, right? And particularly in our position as educators with direct contact with students, and ways that we can continue to make change and continue to expand the growth that we made from this journey. The All-African Diaspora Education Summit, a 5-day conference in Cape Coast. This was a historic summit that was a profound professional development opportunity for African American educational professionals to understand both the historic and current educational context that will create the space and freedom to reimagine how we teach and serve Black students. Now, as we know, service and serving our Black students is not only a justice issue, but it's an equity issue. And this conference helped to ground us in that. While the majority of attendants, many of us were Black, people of African descent, there were many conference attendees who were not. It was still a multi-racial, multi-ethnic experience. But the goal of this was to create a space for multiple interactions. 1, just the journey to make it there, right? 2, to be in a space filled with so many people, predominantly from the California Community College, where we had the space to engage and connect with one another. I'm talking faculty, staff, classified, administrators, chancellors, other college presidents. We really had such a diversity of representatives there from the California Community College, which, as you can imagine, led the space for us to be talking about different programs at our colleges, different approaches, right? It seems to be rare to be in a space like that where we're actively sharing about what we can do. So it was full of growth. I will say, in addition to the last slide, that what rooted this conference was this idea of African-centered education, okay? And why is that important? Particularly as we come from the North American context, and I think we have a baseline understanding of our experience and the experience of Africans in North America. And and that experience, which has not always been a pretty one, right? So what can we do if we provide a theoretical underpinning for how we can approach and teach Black students? One that encourages confidence, a sense of self, knowledge of culture and history, and one, importantly, that doesn't begin with the transatlantic slave trade, right? One that begins long before that. And what does that do for our students to build that self-esteem and knowledge of self, history, and culture? Some highlights from the conference itself were there were amazing speakers, amazing keynotes each and every day, truly a full experience, where we had speakers like Dr. Malveaux, Dr. Anthony Browder, Dr. Hotep, and Dr. Chika Akua. Scholars who are on the forefront of the field discussing the intersections of African-descended people in education. Many of these scholars from Cal States, UCs, California community colleges, and the like, but to teach us things like the history of education of African-descended people in the US. Briefly, for example, there's often the mythology that Black students don't want to learn, they don't want to have access to education, which completely ignores the histories of inhibiting people from learning, right? Prohibiting them and threatening them with a threat of death to teach someone to read. So the education, I think, for Black people in this country has inherently been an experience and a desire for liberation, right, knowledge. And the speakers were really able to ground us in that and provide us a theoretical underpinning for envisioning the future. Next slide, please. Okay, we'd like to share rather, a few of our experiences that really grounded this trip. If you recall the picture of us all dressed in white, okay, that was so that we would be able to pay respect when we went to the slave dungeons at Cape Coast. It is like it sounds, okay? You can see this really quite beautiful building here, okay? And below ground, the places where people were dehumanized and kept enslaved until they made the journey to the Americas. It was a visceral, emotional, moving experience like I have never experienced in my life. Just to tell you about it is moving. It was quite moving for all of us in attendance to learn about those histories there, as you can see. And if you'll go to the next slide. So this is a larger view here. As you can see here, for example, on the right-hand side, you can't see the writing, but what it says above is the door of no return. And it is as it means. For the majority, I'd say all of the Africans who were marched through that door to the waiting ships never saw home again. So you can imagine the feeling for us, the majority of us who had never had the opportunity to return to Africa, right? We're talking hundreds of years. And what that meant to be there, to be in the room, to touch the walls, to hear the stories, how weighted, but also cathartic the experience was. If they never were able to return, what does it mean that we were there, that we went back? Next slide, please. Another probably more lighthearted experience was a beautiful trip to the Kakum National Park, which we all had the opportunity to be in this beautiful location, hiking and spending time, of course, with student volunteers from the University of the Cape Coast. And as you can see here in the middle picture here, we were able to walk across the canopy, both frightening and liberating, I would say.
That was me.
Yes, but another beautiful opportunity. We just want you to see that it was not only these amazing speakers and spaces for conversation and communication amongst the community colleges, but also a journey full of experiences like this one. We see here, this is our trip that we took to Morée, the city of light. And this, well, as we arrived, we happened onto really a community event. Well, it was full of community members, high schoolers, elders, beauty queens even. We really saw a lot at this space. Now, what is particularly meaningful for us as visitors, I'd say two things. One was the extremely warm welcome that we received from community members. we continue to be welcomed time and time again with such meaningful statements as welcome home, we want you here, welcome back. Oof, it was moving. Now, this experience was unique in itself in that we had a naming ceremony. Okay, if what you know about the transatlantic slave trade is that one of the first things to be removed from people was their names, to be stripped of your name, to be stripped of your humanity. So to think of all these generations later to return, right, and to be gifted, because truly it's a gift, to be gifted a Ghanaian name, right, along that same thing of welcome back, right, here's a name, right? So we experienced that in Moray and really experienced community connection here, as you can see with these photos.
So here was another opportunity we had. This is where we were able to visit one of the local schools in the area. Truly, truly, truly an amazing experience. The students, I had a Polaroid camera. And so I was able to give the students, ask them if I could take their picture, give them an actual picture of their self. And they swarmed me, Madame, Madame, Madame. So that experience and just learning about what they needed, the support that we could give to them. I mean, just knowing that they needed basic things like pencils and paper, the things that we take for granted here, right? In the lower corner there, the left-hand corner, the two little girls, that was gonna be like my opportunity to hopefully follow them one day. The one with on the left, I had said, can I take your picture? And she's like, yes. And she goes, but can my sister be in it? And I'm like, oh. So just that opportunity. We were going to, in fact, we have communication with the school, and we'd like to sponsor the school. And you can we'll talk about that later with how we can send out an email if others that want to sponsor the school as well. But that was a great opportunity for us. Very polite students welcomed us again right away. And just some take-home points, I'm just building some self-esteem. It really helped me with my self-esteem and acknowledging the students that were there, the volunteers that helped us. I don't know if there's another slide with volunteers. Okay, but anyway, the volunteers were, they didn't have to. They were students from Cape Coast University. So they were there to help us with anything we needed, giving us water, showing us where the restrooms were at, taking us around to do if we had any like little trinkets we wanted to buy while we were there. But that was just emotional in itself because they wanted to welcome us. Focus on connecting to African history and roots. We enriched our story by starting with a different era and centering Africa. Right here in the picture, you see the one of the dancers had the pole, and then whenever there would be a ceremony, he would take the pole and give it to one of us, and we give it back, give it to them, give it back. It was kind of a way of welcoming us again, saying, thank you, welcome for coming, and welcome back. Another one's just a picture of us in our outfits. We had outfits made as well, so that was kind of cool too. Are you wearing yours? She's wearing hers. I didn't wear mine, sorry. And here, right here, is just the Madase Pa, which is just thank you, giving back. This is a picture that one of the volunteers that Dr. Garcia was able to assist and help the student with their education. Just knowing that he had a single mom, he had to sell his car to help pay for his sister's education. That was just moving just to hear that story. And Rashida, the other volunteer, again, these are volunteers from Cape Coast University that they got the email saying, hey, can you help out? And they were there for the whole week, so they were just taken away from their own studies. But I was able to help out Rashida with her academics, but just knowing that she had to take out a loan for her education, where in US dollars, that was $170 for just one semester. So that was kind of moving as well. And then we also are gonna be able to help out other volunteers later on and to help them out as well. So here, just if you guys have questions, you want to talk about the wall or?
I'll close on this point because truly we could stay and talk your ear off. We know we don't have much time. But as I recalled to you before at the slave dungeons, and I pointed out the door of no return, we had another opportunity to be at this center where they created a wall, a blank wall for people to be able to write the names of members of their families who had passed away. And that wall they called the wall of return, right? In light of thinking of all the ancestors who never made it back, that we would have a wall to write the names of our loved ones who came before us, who passed and never got to see Africa, who never made it to Ghana. That just highlights that we had a series of moments that were moving, emotional, grounding, moments where we were able to connect with one another as educators and those concerned about education, where we were able to connect directly with Ghanaian students, many of which we've maintained the communication since we've returned, right? Because our focus is student-centered and it's all students. So we'll leave it there and see if you've got any questions for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for the presentation, and just thank you in general for the good work that you do as it relates to equity and social justice. Very important work that you do. What an amazing experience! I hopefully hopefully we have opportunities or future opportunities like this, so more our students can experience experiences like this. I think this was amazing, and I'm happy that you all got the opportunity to go, and we're happy to do it too. So hopefully more of them come in the future. Is there any questions from the board?
No, I just wanted to, say thank you as well. I'm just really moved by, the pictures. Especially because we still see so much of, that hatred, that still exists, and
Sure.
and it always, never ceases to amaze me that we can't, just look at each other and just see a human being. So I can't imagine what it must be like for you, and your families. But thank you so much for doing that. I know as a trustee, more than happy that we, had the ability to approve this opportunity. And as our chairman mentioned, I would love, for this to become something that we can, do often for our students and even some staff members. So I'm sure you have a lot that you brought back and are able to share, with our students here on campus, and not only African American students, but I think it's important just in general. That education. I know there's conversation about we want to erase history. Well, there was history before that history. That people claim that we're trying to erase. So I think for me it's always been, no, let's just know the story. We can forgive and move forward, but we can't do that if no one's willing to acknowledge what has occurred. And I think it's important. And again, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing those beautiful pictures with us. And thank you for all of the work that you do.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to say thank you for doing that for our students again, and doing it for yourselves as well, because I think that's important. Now you have a better understanding, and you feel that sense of pride in your heritage, and you can incorporate that into your lessons. And I'm thinking, man, how wonderful that's going to be for our students, all of the students, whether they have the opportunity to actually go there, but maybe they'll be inspired to go back, because sometimes there's fear in going back to something like that. But I want to thank you so much for doing that. I think it must have been courageous to go to that through the door of no return. I mean, that to me is just so frightening sounding. And it's just, and then to be able to know that now there's a wall that you can put the names on of people that have passed away and not been able to return yet. It just seems so spiritual and so lifting and enlightening. So thank you so much for that, sharing that.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, Dr. Garcia?
I just like to thank the amazing faculty members for their dedication, for their commitment. And I'd like to share that it was a transformational experience, and to have the opportunity to be there with them and our students is an experience that I will never forget in my life. So thank you.
Thank you. And we could say the same. We are so grateful for you, Dr. Garcia, for being there with us. We were truly lucky to have our president with us on this trip. to be able to communicate with other presidents of community colleges, and really to see what comes out of this experience. It's not just a one-time trip, to your point, trustee, how it affects how we'll teach. I'm already thinking differently about my political science courses, so it's really reached us in so many ways. And at some point, I hope that you'll get to hear from the students who have discussed their transformational experience, from connecting with students there, their continued communication with students back in Cape Coast. Believe us, the students came back transformed, and we hope that the future students will also have the opportunity. So once again, we wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Thank you.
I just have a couple questions, though. Was this the first time they had ever done this? This was the first time. And
Yes.
was it just California that was invited, or was it across the United States, or?
Yeah, it was directed at California community colleges. The main organization connected to this, you may have heard, they're familiar with the California Community College, that's Amend, right? Who has conferences and programs, scholarships. So Amend was the connecting organization, as we know, they're through our community college. So it was directly reached out to us, the California Community College, as the majority. However, there were some faculty and some folks from UC, some from Cal States, and a few others from out-of-state universities. But it was mainly hundreds of California Community College faculty, staff, classified, and students.
But Amen has been going for like the last, I think, 5 years, maybe? Is what it was? They've been going for like the last, just the actual group itself, the chairs. But they wanted to open it up to everybody this year.
Right. This is the first conference of this size and this type of event. This was the first one. Yeah.
Are they looking at doing it annually or you know?
I talked to one of the members a few weeks ago to see what was going on, and they're thinking about it maybe in 2 years, just because of the fact that there were so many people, and next time we'll get even more. I mean, there was like, what, hundreds? And so they don't know if Cape Coast could be able to support all of us, right? To house all of us. So they're trying to figure out what they do with the logistics as far as that. But the opportunity is to keep going maybe every 2 years.
And I think it was wonderful that you were able to attend a school for, you know, younger children, as well as, you know, having the college students from that locale, you know, being your hosts. I mean, that's just a wonderful experience for both you and the students there as well.
Yeah, just seeing the
And I
little
would think
faces,
that
it
would be
just,
so
I'm sorry,
beneficial.
excuse me. Just seeing the little faces was just, I see them right now in my little head. They were just so excited that we were there and took the time. Even the teachers were just like, wow, you're ready to come to visit our classrooms. We're like, yeah, we want to see what's going on and how we can help to support you. And then just hearing their list of what their needs are. I mean, we were in the room and they had a calendar still from 2015. And I was like, what? Yes. And I'm just being able to support them and help them, yeah, it's a great opportunity.
And that we intend to stay connected, both with the contacts that we made at the school, the lower school, as well as with the University of the Cape Coast students. It's lit a fire in us that we will continue nurturing.
I speak with them every day. They're texting me. How's it going, madame? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'm curious, the schoolhouse, can you describe that to me? Was it like a one-room schoolhouse?
It was about 4 rooms, and they had to separate it. So I think it was like from kindergarten to maybe 8th or 9th grade. And there was like 4 rooms, so they had the older students here, but then in another building over here is where the elementary students were at. It was like a big open dirt area. There's no grass for them, just buildings. Buildings didn't have a lot of doors. So walking in, it was like, wait a minute, there's animals that are walking around. But yeah, it was a good experience, yeah. Yeah.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, I would suggest that maybe the foundation might be interested in hearing this presentation, as well as the presentation on the NASA program that we have going.
We actually presented for the foundation last Wednesday.
Oh, okay, great. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Good, very good, very good. So then, the NASA program then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great work.
Thanks.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And just as a public service announcement. The presentations, whenever they're related to our students, they can take as long as they need to. We love seeing that type of stuff. So don't ever feel bad for going over a certain amount of time or anything like that when you're presenting on the great work that you all are doing. So thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 20, future agenda items, 20.01. Future agenda items, student trustee Paul. No? Trustee Gonzalez.
Actually, one. I've heard quite a bit on the community about requesting a forensic audit, and I have to say that I couldn't agree more. But I think it should be for multiple years. If I had it my way, I'd start about 2012. But if that's too far back, I would suggest no less than 8 years. So I definitely agree with that. I think it's something that needs to be done. But I do think that we need to start it a little earlier than just going back 1 year. So I think that is definitely something that we need to look at. And again, my way 2012. If the board doesn't agree, I would say no less than 8 years back. Thank you.
I think that's a great suggestion. And Trustee Wilson, you're still on the board. What would you like to see in the future? Alrighty. Trustee Yant.
Nothing this month.
Okay. Trustee Stefan.
Nothing new at this time.
Not pressing, but I think I would like to take the offer of hearing what the students that went to this experience have to say. I think that'd be pretty neat as well. So whenever that we can schedule that. Obviously, there's no rush on that, but I think that'd be nice. Okay, so we'll go ahead and recess now to closed session. The live feed of this meeting will continue. Trustees, I ask that you please join closed session at 12:20.
Trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, yeah. together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love, so shall it be in the end. One heart, alright. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow 10. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Say it. One love. What about the one heart? What about the let's get together and feel alright? I'm playing to mankind. One heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Is the last time I get together and
An arrow to the heart. I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my guitar. Fill up the engine, we can drive real far. Go dancing underneath the stars. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh, baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. And we'll say, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh, baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back into the car. On the backseat in the moonlit dark. Wrap me up between your legs and arms. Ooh, I can get enough. You know you could tear me apart. Put me back together and take my heart. I never thought that I could love this hard. Ooh, I can get enough. Ooh, you got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got
unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you should ever wanna be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you wanna do. Why can't this crazy love be more? It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you've changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you wanna feel how it feels? Do you wanna know that it doesn't hurt me? Do you wanna hear about the deal they're making? It's you and me. And if only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. See if only could. You don't wanna hurt me, but see how deep the bullet lies. Unaware and tearing you asunder. Oh, there is thunder in our hearts. Is there so much heat for the ones we love? Oh, tell me we both matter, don't we? You. It's you and me. It's you and me.
Oh, okay, we're reconvening to open session at 1:30.